We're gonna paint the picture. Let's say that you're on like a first date with who? Yourself, okay? I'm excited for this video. Hey, what's good with y'all, man? What's good with y'all, man? If you didn't know, my name is Ty, and today I got a very interesting topic for you guys today. So today I'm going to be talking about how to start your spiritual journey. These are important things. These are musts. You have to, okay? These are musts, all right? Now, I'm not going to give you guys a list of this, you should practice this. I'm going to tell you guys things that you really need to keep in mind while going on your spiritual journey, okay? So just to preface this, I'm going to tell you guys a few things to keep in mind. First of all, when you're beginning your spiritual journey, keep in mind that you are not beginning your spiritual journey, okay? This is not a start, this is not a beginning, but it is a return, which means that you're returning to what you always were, okay? When you are on your spiritual journey, you started your spiritual journey before you even had this human experience, okay? Because we're all spiritual beings having a human experience, okay? We're not human beings having a spiritual experience. When you are quote unquote beginning your spiritual journey, it's just you coming back home, okay? You realizing what home truly is, okay? Also, you need to make sure that you pace yourself when you're learning a lot of things, okay? Because you want to avoid burnout. You don't want to keep on learning all these things and then trying all these things all at one time. Nobody can criticize you. Nobody can criticize your spiritual journey and what you do, okay? It's your spiritual journey, okay? It's nobody else's spiritual journey but yours, okay? If you do certain things on your spiritual journey, nobody else can judge you for it, okay? Because they can't tell you what is right for you. They can't tell you what your journey is because they don't know. It's about your own intuition. It's about that own feeling that you get within yourself. Nobody else is gonna feel that but you. Now that I got that out of the way, let me get into the real nitty gritty, okay? Let me get into the must keeps in minds. I made sure that the first thing that I did when I had my spiritual awakening is to find a spiritual community, okay? So, you know, on YouTube, find spiritual YouTube channels. Be active and be involved in these communities, okay? Because you want them to know that you're there, and they want to know that you're there as well because they want to know that they can relate to other people. You know, you're not the only one going through a spiritual awakening. You're not the only one going on your spiritual journey and who is aware of it, okay? It's other people who are in similar spaces just like you or have been, and they can relate to you. And it's super important to know that people can relate to you when you're on the spiritual journey, because it's so easy to feel isolated and to feel alone when those physically around you can't relate to what you're thinking, what's going on in your life. But you know, there's always somebody who can relate to you, and we're in a great time where, you know, you can go on YouTube and find a spiritual community. You can go on Patreon, some like a specific person's Patreon or Reddit. You never know. There's so many places where you can find a community full of people who can relate to you, and I think that's super important. You never want to feel like you're alone, because we're not alone, all right? The second thing that you have to do on your spiritual journey is to trim yourself of the old leaves, okay? Just see yourself as a tree, and now you have to trim off the old leaves that have already died, that no longer serve you, okay? What I mean by it is, like, you know, you have to leave behind the old and bad habits that you had. You can't be around the same old people who are on the old mindset that you once had, because you can't relate to those things anymore. You know, you are trying to elevate. You are trying to vibrate on a higher frequency. And you can't vibrate on a higher frequency if you got too much baggage holding you down on a lower vibration, okay? So you need to let go of the things that no longer serve you, you know? The third thing is that you have to remove distractions from your life. It's so easy to get distracted from yourself, okay? So a lot of things that will distract you from yourself is, you know, social media, the news, anything that is created to program you in a way, okay? The most important thing when you're on the spiritual journey is you need to spend time with yourself, by yourself, because it's like you're getting to know yourself again. Let's paint the picture, okay? We're gonna paint the picture. Let's say that you're on like a first date with who? Yourself, okay? You're sitting across from yourself at the dinner table. And when you're on the first date, right, you're not going to be texting on your phone. You're not going to be looking at the TV. You're not going to be looking at all these different things because you really want to get to know that person better, right? So your focus is all on them. You want to get to know what they like, what they don't like, how they feel about this, how they feel about that. You want to get to know the person as much as possible. You don't want to get distracted by anything, because that'll make you lose focus on getting to know that person. So treat this as a first date with yourself, okay? You're getting to know your spiritual self, because for so long, your spiritual self has been clouded by these three-dimensional things, you living this human experience and getting too caught up in the human experience, forgetting that you were a spiritual being and that's what you've always been, So it's important that you spend a lot of time by yourself and you remove yourself from distractions, because you want to get to know yourself better. You want to know what experiences have you gone through which makes you the way you are today, okay? That awareness is what you need to build when you're on the spiritual journey. I don't know what number we're on. I lost count. I'm not really good at counting. Whatever. But the next thing is, do your research on things that other spiritual people do. Try them out. But pay attention to how they make you feel, okay? I'm not going to tell you that, being a vegan is going to work for you. I'm not going to tell you that meditation is going to work for you. I'm not going to tell you that this and that is going to work for you, because at the end of the day, everything is just a suggestion, okay? Nobody, like I said, nobody's living your spiritual journey other than you. You want to know what other people are doing, what a lot of other people are doing, which help them. And then, consider it and try it out for yourself and see if it works for you. See if you like it, because what works for somebody else doesn't always work for you. Like I said, you also want to pace yourself of the knowledge that you get. You don't want to take everything that somebody gives you and take it and do it verbatim, because everybody is a different person. So meditation, right? I've tried it and I enjoy it. I think it's super important to try, and I think that it works for the majority of spiritual people. Your diet, being a vegan, I'm not a vegan, but I am trying it. I'm in the midst of trying it. I'm in the midst of experimenting with my diet. Sun gazing, like looking at the sun, I've tried it, and I think that just being out in the sun in general just helps. Like whether I'm looking at the sun or not, I think that just being out in the sun and nature is important. For me, I'm not a person who sun gazes, who just looks at the sun. Do your research first. Do thorough research, and then try it and see how you feel about it. Affirmations are really good. I think everybody should do it, whether you're spiritual or not. I think that is very effective. And yoga, I've also tried yoga. Yoga was super fun for me. And I think it was very helpful, I really like yoga. I was pretty good at it the first time, I ain't gonna lie to you. I was doing all them things that the lady told me we were supposed to be doing. I was bouncing on one leg and everything. I was doing all of it. I was going crazy. They was loving it. They was like, oh, he's performing. He must did this before. I was like, no, this is my first time, but I appreciate it. But yeah, try all those things. Also do, just do your research, okay, and find what works for you and find what doesn't, okay? Not too many people say this, but I think you should try it. I feel like it's a form of meditation, but talking to yourself. This goes back to you're on a date with yourself. You're on a date with your spiritual self. You're trying to get to know yourself better. It's like basically thinking out loud, okay? You have certain thoughts in your head, and then you can think about them in your head, but I think it's also helpful, at least for me, to think out loud to myself. I'm not like, hey, how you doing, Ty? I'm good. How about you? Like, I'm not doing that, but I'm just thinking out loud. I'm thinking through things verbally. And, sometimes I say things and it triggers something in my head, and then I get a brand new idea and something that'll help me and other people. That's how I come up with a lot of my YouTube ideas. That's how I come up with a lot of things. So I think it's really important. I think that it's something that everybody should try, If you don't like it, don't do it. If you like it, fantastic. But I think it's important to process certain feelings and thoughts that you're having. Another thing that I feel like is super important on your spiritual journey is to reconnect with nature. Reconnect with the grass, with the trees, with the plants, with the dirt, everything, all of that. I think that is super important, that you go out and you exist in nature. Why? Because nature is one of the few things that isn't as manipulated in this world compared to all the foods that we eat, that we buy from the grocery store. So many things have been programmed or constructed or man-made to the point where it's very few things that exist where it's almost untouched by man. It doesn't matter what happens in this world, Mother Nature always wins. If the whole entire planet was wiped of all human beings and all man-made things, nature is always going to be here. It's existed before humans have been here, and it's going to exist long after we're here. It's undefeated. Let's take a tree, for example, okay? Once the tree is planted in the soil, it is going to grow, okay? It's going to grow roots within the ground, and it's going to grow up. If there's something in the way of that tree, whether it's like a telephone cable, a street light, whatever, no matter what it is, You know, nature, the tree is going to grow regardless. It'll grow around that. It'll adjust to its circumstances. If you build your house on top of some roots of a tree, those roots will tear up your house. It will tear up the bottom of your house. It'll do whatever, you know. It doesn't matter what happens with these man-made things. Nature is going to do what nature does. Nature's always going to stay true to what nature is, okay? And I feel like that is a metaphor for how important it is for you to stay true to your spiritual self, you know? So no matter what happens while you're in this human experience, no matter what happens in this three-dimensional world, you gotta remember why you're here. You're just here to learn. You're here to experience. And the last thing is, I know I kind of touched on this, but be patient, okay? Don't feel like you ever need to rush into anything, okay? This is a marathon, not a sprint, okay? Don't try to race to the finish line. Don't feel like you need to accomplish. Don't feel like you have to, you know, open up your third eye like in 3 weeks. Don't feel like, you know, you need to unblock all your chakras and everything. Don't feel like you need to become a vegan tomorrow and be perfect with everything. You're not going to be perfect anytime soon, okay? You're not going to reach the finish line anytime soon, okay? You know, if you reached the finish line, if you achieved everything, you wouldn't even be having this human experience anymore, okay? So keep in mind, you know, be patient with your growth. Understand that growth, any type of growth is good growth, okay? No matter if it's fast or slow. If you're making growth, that's the most important thing, and you need to be patient, you know? As long as you know you're doing that inner work, that's the most important thing, okay? So that's what I have for this video. I hope this really helps some of y'all, you know? Let me know if it did. Like it if you liked the video. Dislike the video if you didn't like the video. But don't dislike the video. Leave a comment if you wish and subscribe for more content from All Seeing Ty. And I'm out. Man, peace.